So today's weaving, and we are going to be weaving a bowl just like this. We're taking a regular paper plate. I've already cut the loom for some of you that are doing this, and I'll also show you instructions on how to cut it. The loom is just the plate, and you'll be weaving in and out a very simple pattern and creating a bowl. I trimmed off the edges here, and I'll show you that as well. But this just creates a nice cool bowl that you can put some stuff in and enjoy. You could also do this with a cup too. Once you kind of figure this out, a cup's another great thing to do. First thing I'm going to do is just go over the basics of weaving and the idea of following that pattern of over under. So I'm going to show you that first with paper, and then we'll jump into the weaving of the plate. Okay? So weaving is all about following a very basic pattern. You're creating just a connection so that things stay together as opposed to falling apart. And so I've already cut, let's say that this is my loom. It could be a plate, whatever. And when you weave, you want to follow the pattern of over, under, over, under, over, under, or under, over, under, over. It's the same thing. What that means is I would go under the first side, over the second, under the third, so go over, then under, over. I've alternated my pattern, be it a plate, whatever I'm doing, I alternate. That'll be the same thing on a loom. Every line you do alternating. Now on the plate, you don't need to because it's just one continuous wrap. So now, because I started under, I'm gonna go over, and then under, over, under, over, under. And then I just pull this tight. The idea is as you weave the fibers in the yarn, it'll create an alternating pattern both ways. So I'm going to do this, under, over. So you can see it's going to look like a checkerboard. Now this is like basically a blown up version of what you're going to see, but even if you look here, it's still going to alternate over, under, and then it'll start to layer on top of each other. So weaving basics, weaving 101, okay? Once you master that and tying knots, you can pretty much weave anything, okay? If you don't alternate a pattern and you continue to do the same thing, like if I started under and then did under again, if you did that, okay, then they wouldn't stay tight. Everything would just fall apart, just how like these papers overlap each other. It would just fall apart. So important before you start weaving, okay? Okay, I just want to show you this in case you want to do this again. I'm going to have a plate loom for you, and I'll include an extra plate as well. But if you're creating or setting up your loom, you can use your tape roll, just set it kind of in the middle so it looks like it is in between. Hold it down, and you're going to just draw a circle. That's going to be the base of the plate, kind of like this, okay? If you're looking here, that's going to be the base. Once you're done with that, you're going to need an odd number of lines. It really doesn't matter how many. I'm going to do 9, and I honestly just kind of eyeball this, but I'm just going to do, again, like I said, as long as it's odd, you're totally fine. So let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I actually did 9 lines. If you notice they're not even, you can always start over or whatever you'd like. So that's what I'm going to do for you. It's already done, but if you wanted to make another one with your extra plate, you can always do that. So the next step, you're going to be cutting these lines. And so I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm just going to cut on the line. Make sure you do not go past this line right here. Okay, so I'm going to cut. Notice how this line was a little off, and so I'm actually going to cut it so it's more diagonal. I'm stopping at that circle when I cut. just continuing to cut to the lines. Now, because we're doing a bowl, let me show you something. You're gonna want, of course, the ends to go up. And so we need to trim each of these sides. So the next step, you're gonna go back with your scissors and you're gonna trim a little bit off. So I just took out a little bit and I would cut from each side. Just kind of pull that out. So cut a little bit from each side. So it looks like I took a pizza slice out of it. So I cut and I cut. I cut and I cut. Cut and I cut. I'm just going to do this the whole thing. I know it's not very exciting. So that way, when I am putting it all together, it's going to fold up better. Okay? And there'll be some space in between as they come up together. Okay? So that's the next step. After I've cut all of these, you're going to want to take each side and just kind of fold it on the line so it sticks up. Okay? Like that. And like that. So I need to go ahead and cut the rest of these, and then I'm going to show you how to get started with the yarn. Okay, I have cut a piece of yarn and I'm ready with my bowl. You can see I just cut all of these sides off. So the first thing you're going to do, I use the needle, and I'm giving you the needle. You probably don't need it, but if you want to use the needle, you just tie it on with a regular knot. You may need to ask your parents to help you just tie a knot here, and then on the end of your string you need a knot at the end. So to make a knot, it's really simple. Okay, this will be probably the most important thing that you need to know for weaving. I just wrap it around my fingers like this, okay, and then pull it through. I pull my fingers out and pull it through just like that. So wrap it around and then pull it through like that. I double knotted just so that it'll stay. And then you're going to take your knot and you're going to lay it in one of the slots so that it pulls right there. Okay? Now for weaving, I showed you the pattern. It's just under, over, under, over, under, over, or over, under, either one. So I'm just going over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. I've gone all the way around. So now this next time, because it's an odd number, it works out perfectly. You never have to switch or change. You just now go under, over, under, over, under, over. Some of you have done weaving a lot, and so you'll know just this is super easy. And then you just keep weaving. Notice how I'm not using the needle, but I just wanted to show you that in case you wanted to keep that on there. So I'm just pulling it through, back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. If you ever mess up, it's okay, because weaving, you can kind of hide those mistakes. So don't worry. Under, over, under, over, under, over. Okay, so let's say, let's pretend like my yarn ended. And so I need to get a new piece of yarn. You can use any color of yarn that you would like. This is where that knot tying is so important. So I can't weave anymore. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take 2 pieces of yarn and tie them together. The easiest way to do that is to take the 2 pieces, wrap them around your fingers like this, and then just pull it through right there. And I just pull it tight. Okay, these little tassels that are left, if you want to trim them off, that's great, and just leave a little bit Actually, you'll notice when I did this bowl, I didn't trim those yet, and so I just have to go back now that I'm done with the bowl and trim those off. But sometimes you kind of like that rough look. Maybe not. You can just take the tassels that are left. You'll see they kind of stick out and just trim them. And then they kind of disappear. You can even tuck it in. Okay? So now that I have a longer string, I can continue to just do my pattern where I go over, under, and I just keep doing this forever. That's the great thing about weaving, is it's just kind of relaxing, and you just sit there and can do it. Once you get really good at it, you can put on some music, watch something, and just keep weaving. As you do this, you want to make sure that you kind of pull it tight so that the sides go up. Okay, that should happen naturally because of the way you cut it. But again, I'm just doing over, under, see, and then I go over, under, over, under, over, under, over, like that, okay? So you just keep working your way all the way up the bowl. With this one that was finished, okay, I stopped a little early. I wanted the bowl to kind of stick out, and I bent these sides. Another thing that I would probably do, this is a bit unfinished, like I told you, first I would cut these pieces. This is my last piece of yarn. This is where I ended, and so you might just want to tie it off. All you have to do is take the yarn. I'm just going to take this last piece of yarn I used right here and wrap it around in a knot so that it stays there, okay, like that. That way it's not loose. And then I just trim the end. So I'm trimming all of these little extra pieces that are sticking out. And then if you would like to, if you want a more finished look, you can cut the bowl. So I'm cutting the bowl. And I'm just cutting the sides. Just be careful, because if the yarn came off, of course, that would kind of be a mess. But, oops, no big deal. See? So now I have a woven bowl. There you go. And you can put your jewelry, you can put stuff in here, whatever you would like. This is a lot of fun. You can make more. I'll include, like I said, some extra plates in case you want to make more, okay, because they're a lot of fun. I'm just trimming these right there, and there is your woven bowl, okay? So it'll go from this, well, it'll go from a plain plate, but this to this. Good job.